Hey guys, it's Marissa
and Shauna,
and today's video is going to be
the 7 things we stopped buying to save more money.
But the 7 things I stopped buying to make money. The Miley
make
song,
money,
anyone?
Save money.
Make money, I kind of feel like saving money is making money.
It is.
It's money you otherwise would have spent.
I know.
Theoretically.
Money that's staying in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, these are just some things we don't really buy anymore. I mean, you should spend money on things that give you joy and happiness. And then these are just some of the things where we feel like you can really like trim the fat and cut these out and still have a rockin' time. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so the first one is something that I feel like this is more your area of expertise, and that is movie tickets.
Yes. Oh my God. I used to be like obsessed with movie tickets. Like, well, not movie tickets, the movies in general.
Theater.
I think before COVID especially, there was like a time where I would literally go to the movies like 3 days a week. But like, I feel like since COVID, since less movies in general have been coming out in theaters.
Movies.
Yeah, good movies. Good movies. But I just feel like less movies in general have been released. Like before COVID, there was a lot more movies released. They would be a lot later showtimes. There would be more showtimes. Like they've really cut back, scaled back a lot for movie theaters. So I just feel like it's so much more worth it to stream it at home. Like even brand new movies that come out, if you go with a group of 4 friends, that's like literally $100 for tickets.
Yeah.
At least
Not
at the
even
theaters.
including popcorn.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, unless you go on discount Tuesdays at AMC where it's $5. If you go on a discount Tuesdays, disregard this because it doesn't apply to you. But anybody else not going to discount Tuesdays, like it's literally like $22 to $25.
Yeah.
Literally every single time you go.
Like, and sometimes the seats don't recline. Sometimes the seats are uncomfortable.
It triggers me when they don't recline. I won't go to movie theaters where the seats don't recline. Because I'm like, I'm spending all this money to go sit in a seat that's like significantly less comfortable than ones that I have at home. You know, I don't know. And nowadays, I feel like since the like quarantine COVID era, you can rent and buy a lot of movies that come out in theaters like pretty quickly after they come out, like almost like concurrent with going to the movies and watching it, and it'll be like $20 to rent it. But think about it, if you have like a group of friends or family or whatever, it's gonna be so much less than taking everybody out to the movie theaters.
I was gonna say, like, I just like watching movies at home because I feel like you can make your living room like a vibe. Like you can dim the lights, you can put on like a star projector, and it's nice to be able to like pause it when somebody has to go to the bathroom. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I also, for really long movies, I like being able to not watch it all in one go because
Avatar.
Yeah.
But also like, especially like, this is a point we haven't even addressed, but there's a lot of jerky people at movie theaters. People that be going on their phones like this, it's all bright. People that be talking, you hear cell phones ringing. People be like doing like the rudest things in movie theaters. Acting a damn fool.
When I was seeing the Bob's Burgers movies in a theater, there were people smoking in the theater.
Bro, people do that all the time, and I'm like, what the?
It's so distracting. It's so disrespectful and unpleasant. And it's like, I couldn't see who was doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I would have said something to them. Like,
and also that's like awkward because it's like you have to get up in the middle of the movie. You have to take yourself out of the movie zone, go look for the perpetrator that's smoking. And keep in mind, you know they're doing it on the down low. They're not doing it all out in the open. They're doing puffs at a time like cowards.
It was bothering me so much.
Oh my gosh. And you know, like, it's not like you could ever like be a Karen and actually like complain to the staff because they're just a bunch of teenage like zit-faced kids that don't like care.
I feel like we save so much money by not buying movies. Theaters.
Oh yeah, but also if you do want to go to theaters, there's a lot of like free screenings like that you can go to in your area. I don't know like how poppin' they are now after COVID, but I just think like in general, it's just so much better to wait until it comes out on streaming. It's gonna come out on streaming sooner than later. It's not like back in the days where you had to wait like 6 months before a movie would come out on DVD. Now it's like you wait a week and it's like everywhere online. You know what I'm saying? So That's just what I think. I think movies have definitely, I think the only way it's worth it to go to the movies is if you have that like $20 or $25 a month pass and you go like at least once a week.
Yeah.
Because then it's like you're doing discount Tuesdays.
Okay, so the next thing that we stopped buying to save money is library books. Oh, wait, I mean like books. Like now I just rent books from the library on my Kindle, and it's so funny because the first year or so that I had my Kindle, I was constantly buying books on Amazon, and I must have spent like $100.
Yes.
Like if each book is like $10,
yeah.
Then, so I love just renting books from the library. You can use Libby. There's a bunch of different apps.
It makes a lot of sense, actually. Like, I think it's a very smart idea, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just practical. Then you don't have to have like all these physical books laying around, but also like you don't have to like spend money on a book that you're realistically probably just gonna read once.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, okay, the thing is, with checking out physical books from the library, obviously I used to do that back before Kindles existed.
Yeah.
But one thing I didn't like about it is that sometimes the books were germy or dirty, or like you kind of felt like they were all ragged, and it just like the germaphobe in me just makes me feel like grossed out by it.
I feel grossed out by that, especially now with the whole like post-COVID era. Like back like 10, 20 years ago, back when like germs weren't really a thing, that they were still a thing, but nobody like cared. Like you could read a book and nobody would think like, what if the person used the bathroom and didn't wash their hands?
Yeah,
what if they picked,
which
just
you know
picked
they
a booger?
totally did.
What if they like, you know, like touched the floor, touched dog shit, like, you know, like
getting
just
the
gross
ebook,
stuff.
Getting the ebook on your Kindle is so great because like you can read it and it's perfectly sanitary.
Yeah. So another thing we stopped buying to save money was expensive perfumes. Perfumes can get so pricey.
I know, I've literally spent like $200 on a bottle of perfume before. It was Le Labo.
Oh man. And it's one of those things where it's annoying because it's like, you know it's expensive, but other people can't always smell it on you.
I know. I feel like I just get drawn in by like the marketing and the hype. So no more, now we buy Dossier.
And I have the fruity honey.
And I have the ambery cherry, and this smells so good.
This is literally a dupe of the Jo Malone Nectarine Honey Blossom. Like, smell it. Doesn't it smell exactly like it? Like, if you close your eyes, like, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is like the $200 perfume, for sure. And Dossier, like, we love their perfumes, but I especially feel like fragrances, especially high quality ones like Dossier, are an area where you can just save so much money.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, people blow so much money on like Chanel and
oh my gosh, Chanel perfumes are insane. Like Chanel No. 5, you're gonna spend like several hundred on a teeny tiny bottle too.
Oh yeah, like Chanel perfumes and Le Labo and Jo Malone and Marc Jacobs and all these like fancy designer brands that just retail for so much money. But Dossier recreates perfumes. They're really high quality, smell amazing. And then they last a really long time too, which I love. Like this is like, I don't know how they got the fragrance recipe down, but this is literally nectarine and honey blossom. Like it is. If somebody told me you just put it into this container, I would completely believe you. And Dossier also has a new payment method that lets you earn store credit at checkout. All you have to do is select Catch, and then you will get some store credit, which is awesome. And we will link Dossier below for you guys, but definitely check them out because honestly, these perfumes, the notes on it, black currant, green leaves, honey, nectarine, middle notes, honey and nectarine, that's all I smell. So one thing that we have made a pretty conservative effort to spend less on is souvenirs, like for traveling and stuff. And I think that there's a common misconception that when you go someplace, like you're like, oh, I've got to get a bunch of stuff and I've got to get souvenirs to remember the trip by. But realistically, it's like spending the time with whoever you're with, like taking photos, making memories, doing fun like excursions that you'll remember that have like nothing to do with just stuff. Like for us, like I know when we went to Florida and we went swimming with the manatees, like that's so much better than like buying a big manatee stuffed animal, you know what I mean? That it would get lost, or I'd forget about it, or I'd stop caring at some point or whatever, or like a shirt or just like something. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy souvenirs if you really want them, but I'm just saying like prioritize them. Like maybe pick like one for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
don't go overboard, because I feel like it's very easy to go overboard with souvenirs. And then you get home and you're like, oh, what do I do with all this stuff? I gotta put it somewhere. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that, you know, you can use services like Flytographer or like, you know, like local photographers to like do a photo shoot while you're in a different like location. And I feel like that's just much more memorable and special than just having like a little tchotchke that's gonna break.
And like, I like what you said about Flytographer, because those are photos and like memories that you're gonna have forever. Whereas like, if it's like a little keychain or like a little like, you know, pen or whatever, like you're gonna break it, you're gonna lose it, it's not gonna be around forever.
Oh my God, you know what I hate? When people buy like souvenir mugs from like all the destinations they visited, or like sometimes it's snow globes, and it's just like they have this massive collection in their house, and it just like makes me triggered to look at it, because it's like there's just so much crap, like clutter.
It's funny because I was actually gonna say, I feel like we have so many mugs, and I don't even buy mugs. Like these were all from like PR boxes or events, or like these were all
naturally accumulate mugs.
Free mugs. I don't know who thinks it's a good idea to give out mugs, but I've already got a million of them, and I don't even drink hot drinks that often. So I mean, I guess if you're drinking like 20 cups of coffee a day, or if you have a really big family, then stock up on your mug collection. But I don't know, mugs.
I just feel
they're
like
not a vibe.
Collecting things from every place you go, it's kind of overrated. And
I agree.
If you are gonna get a souvenir, I would recommend getting like either a sweater or a t-shirt, or like something that you can actually use for something practical, like something you can wear.
I agree. Yeah, definitely something practical.
Okay, so the next thing is kind of, we haven't fully stopped doing this, but eating out at restaurants. So I feel like nowadays eating out at restaurants has become like so crazy expensive. Like
so crazy expensive.
And people ask for a tip even when it's like a coffee shop where you're not even sitting down, and like they're not, it's like literally just a to-go like fast food, and like you're still always being asked to like leave a tip.
It actually triggers me about that, because literally if you're just at an ice cream shop and they literally just scoop ice cream, like it's not like, I'm not sitting down at a restaurant, you're giving me water and stuff. Like, I don't know, that I understand giving a tip. But I feel like stuff where people are just like doing like the bare minimum, like, I don't know. I feel like literally fast food places be asking for tips nowadays. And it's just like, kind of like, I don't know. It's like, things is already expensive. And especially if you're like at Cold Stone or something and you're already paying like $10 for a scoop of ice cream. You're like, really? A tip on top of that? I'm like, why can't the restaurant just freaking pay their workers more? I don't know. That's just one woman's opinion.
Okay, so the next thing we stop buying is things on sale that we don't actually need.
Yeah. I'm thinking like Black Friday. And I'm even thinking, I hate to say it because I am an Amazon fan, but like even Amazon like Prime Day.
Yeah.
Because like, it's just like, I used to buy so much
Me
stuff
too.
that like,
I would get sucked into it.
oh my God, I remember the one year, like I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, where I literally bought like, I want to say I bought like 4 or 5 Pusheen stuffed animals. Would I have bought those? Would I have bought those? I don't think so. I think we put them in the background of a lot of our videos, so I think that they served a purpose. But like, all I know is like, there was a point where I just looked around and I had far more Pusheens than I knew what to humanly do with.
Yeah.
And it was all for like, you know, when things are mega discounted and you're like, oh, but it's such a good deal and it's never gonna be on sale again. And then you think about it and you're like, but I never even would have bought this. So am I saving money? Am I? Like, I'm kind of seems like I'm spending money on something I wouldn't have normally purchased, but you know.
Okay, so the next thing that I no longer buy are gadgets that are too complicated, because I feel like even if it's a good idea in theory, if it's too confusing, I will just never like figure out how to use it. Or if I buy it, I'll buy it off of Amazon so that I can return it, because they have such a good return policy. Yeah, like I recently bought some, you might notice that we're wearing these microphones, which is kind of a new thing for us. We've never like been lavalier mic girls
No,
on
we
our
have
YouTube
not.
channel. I mean, hopefully the sound sounds like way better.
Yeah.
But I had to buy like a couple of different other microphones before I got to this one. This is the Rode Wireless Go 2, by the way, but I returned several others that were just too complicated and too confusing. Like, I just want things that are simple. I don't care if it's supposed to be like the best quality thing. Like, if it's too confusing to use, then I just don't want to waste my money on it.
So this one is kind of like a hit or miss because I feel like it depends on the person, but I would say a new car, but that's because like we work from home, so like it just doesn't make sense for us. But it's funny though, because a lot of people we know that work like at Google and things like that, they don't have cars either. Like they like Uber to work, to and from work. Like a few people that we know at least.
I feel like cars do tend to be like a big like money pit. Like
Yeah,
they suck
they
a lot
do.
of money out.
They do. It's like oil change, tires, gas. Like, oh, not to mention the gas prices be like roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times it's unavoidable, but I feel like it's better to get a used car rather than a new car, just because a new car like loses its value so quickly.
Yeah, like literally that's the whole thing is like as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's like worth less money.
Yeah, I mean, we know people who spend a lot of money on cars, and there's a reason why they still like can't afford anything else.
Yeah.
Like, it's because they spend all their money on their cars.
That's true. It's very, very true. And it's just like such a depreciating value. Like, I don't know, I think if it is something where it's like, you're not as like egotistical of like, I need this look and whatever, then like, I don't know, like I know people with like some ugly cars, but they get them where they need to go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's how I would be, you know? A nice ugly car, but it gets me where I gotta go, and that's the vibe. Or like if you're people like us where you don't really like, you're not really commuting long or far distances like every day, then you know, Uber, Lyft, like ride share services, like they can be worth it, because it's like, even though they are expensive and you're like, what am I paying $25 to go to and from the grocery store? But it's like, yeah, but buying a car and then paying for the gas and then paying for the this and then that. So depending on like
your lifestyle.
Yeah, because it's like for some people, it's kind of like the difference between buying a house and renting. Like I know that renting is correct for some people because it's like, you know, obviously saving up a huge chunk of money and there's all these expenses associated with owning a house. Whereas renting is a little more like thinking short term, but it's like, it's just more convenient for some people. So it's kind of like the same thing with car ownership, I'd say. So that was our video on things that we stopped buying and feel like we saved a decent amount of money on because we stopped buying. Comment below if you guys buy any of these things. I feel like Black Friday is like the biggest one. Where like everybody partakes in Black Friday.
Oh, totally.
Whether they want to or not. And we love you guys. Mwah. Big kiss and bye guys!